But just to kind of make sure that we have notes in our notebook to refer back to, we are going to do a quick note page on both of these items. So go ahead and pull up your absolute value sheet first. Because again, we've already kind of talked about opposites, so that one I'm not as worried about as just the absolute value. All right, so when talking about absolute value, a number line is a way to show the distance between numbers. The absolute value is the distance between a number and 0. So absolute value is essentially, regardless if your number is on the negative side or the positive side, you're determining how far away from 0 that it is. That will be your absolute value. So let's just look at this picture real quick, and it says the absolute value is represented by these different items. So the boat, if the boat is at 0, what is that called? You guys know? What do you think it's called? Yes, so the boat is at sea level. All right, and I'm gonna drop down to where it says the bird. So it says 2 feet from the surface. So the bird is up here somewhere, maybe where the box would be. But we wouldn't say it's +2. That wouldn't make a lot of sense, would it? It's +2 above sea level, or just in general, it's +2. So with the fish, technically the fish is where? Technically, like, here's sea level, here's the -5. So where is my fish located? Don't give me any, like, just tell me the number that it's located at. Alex? -2 or -3. So we would, again, not say the fish is located at -3. We would say the fish is located 3 feet below sea level. Okay, does that make more sense? Or we wouldn't say that the fish is located -3 feet below sea level. Again, that we don't talk like that. That would, you'd look at me like, what are you talking about, Miss Minnie? All right, what about the anchor? What about the anchor? Where's the anchor located? Brielle?
-5.
So it's located at -5. So Brielle, would you say it's -5 feet below sea level, or would you say?
It's just 3 feet below.
Huh?
It's just 3 feet below.
No. Well, I mean, it's just 3 feet below. What did you say?
Oh, I'm just talking about like what we.
No, we're talking about the fit. So we would say it is 5 feet below sea level. Is that what you meant?
Yeah.
Okay. So neither one of you got a pass. So we can just show up late and we don't need a pass. Cool, sit down. So I'm gonna start showing up late for work and not get in trouble for it. It's cool, no problem. All right, so it says plot the points from the table to determine the absolute value. So we are plotting the numbers. Don't worry about the lines right now. Just worry about the numbers. So this first number is what? It's -7. So I'm gonna put a point at -7. All right, the next number is what? So I'm gonna put a point on +7. All right, the next number is what? Kira? All right, the next number?
-6.
Okay, and then the last number. Soraya? Okay, now, the absolute value is the distance from the number to 0. So if I'm looking at 7, my distance is how much from 0? Like how many times did I just hop? Gabby?
7.
So I'm 7 from 0. Gabby, why did you not just tell me I was negative 7 from 0?
Because, root 7 jumps from 0 just because it's a negative number, which means it's negative jumps.
And I'm glad that you said that because your absolute value is either a positive number or 0. It will never be a negative number. You do not take negative 7 jumps. You move 7 spots on the number line, or you do 7 hops, or whatever you want to call it, but it is not negative 7. The direction in which you tell me determines what if my number is negative or positive. So these bars, or the 2 lines in front of your numbers, is saying what is the absolute value of negative 7. Well, how many times did we just hop on our number line? 7. So the absolute value is 7. All right, so I'm going to ask the same thing for the next one. How many times am I going to hop on my number line? Oops, sorry, I went too far. Went not enough. So looking at this one, how many times did I just hop on my number line? 7. So I'm 7 from 0. So again, regardless if I'm going positive or negative, what is my distance from 0 to 7? Callie? 7. So my absolute value for 7 is 7. What about 3? How many times are you hopping for 3? Lily? So my absolute value is 3. What about negative 6? Alex?
6 hops from 0.
And what about negative 1? 3 up. 1. So you should notice all of your answers for absolute value are what type of number? What type of number, Andrew? Positive. And that's what I want you to put. So this is your absolute value symbol. So your numbers are always going to be positive or 0. Never negative. Okay? So your answers will always be a positive number. All right, go ahead and glue this in on your notes page right here, and then pull out the opposites page. Okay, so a number line can be used to find the opposite of a number. Opposites are similar to the reflection across the number line. So we have briefly discussed opposites, if anyone would like lesson 2 pull down. But we're gonna go a little bit more in depth. So this arrow is pointing to what number on the left side? Ramon?
Negative
Okay, so this is negative 4 right here. All right, and then this arrow is pointing to what number on the right side? Indira? 4. Okay, so essentially this is saying that negative 4 and 4 are opposites. Do we know why though? Do we know why negative 4 and 4 are opposites? Addie?
4.
Right, so this is 4 and this is 4. So 4 away from 0 and 4 away from 0. So therefore, negative 4 and 4 are opposites of each other. Opposites are probably the easiest thing in the entire world that we are ever gonna do in math. Now, I don't want you to get confused with this next sentence. It says a minus sign is used to represent opposites for each statement. Rewrite it as an expression and then simplify if needed. So essentially, the opposite of -5, this is saying you're going to multiply a negative times a negative. I don't want you to get confused. Okay? What I do want you to label though is this last column as your absolute value column. Because just like you guys told me up here, each one of these numbers are 4 away. That's how we know they're opposites. So what is the opposite of 7? What is the opposite of 7? Sophia? -7. So I'm going to put it in parentheses just so we understand. So then what is the absolute value of both 7 and -7? It's the absolute value. Isabella? 7. All right, what is the opposite of 2? Opposite of 2. Abby? -2. Again, I'm going to put it in parentheses just so we see that it is -2. What is the absolute value of 2 and -2? 2. The opposite of -6 is here.
Positive 6.
Okay, and then the absolute value, of both of those? What's the absolute value of -6 and 6? Gabby?
6.
And what is the opposite of -5/10? Kelly? And then what's the absolute value? What's the absolute value, y'all? We went from having like 1,000 hands to no hands. What happened? Ramon? 25. So 5/10. All right, again, that is the opposite. And we know that the opposite is what? What is the opposite? Because you're gonna have to know that. So what's the opposite? What does it actually mean to have opposite numbers? Elizabeth?
One is the absolute number and the other
Nope.
one's
Nope. Absolutely not. What are opposite numbers? Y'all just told me. Bryson?
they're the same distance away from 0.
They're the same distance away from 0. We have been stating that since today's the 15th. I feel like since the 9th or 10th of last week, we've been talking about the distance from 0, right? Or at least I feel like it. Maybe I'm just sleeping and dreaming about zeros and number lines and everything. I don't know. So what do you notice about the absolute values of any set of opposite rational numbers? So what do we know about all the numbers in this column? What do we know about all those numbers? Andrew? They're all positive numbers, correct? The numbers are all positive. All right, go ahead and glue this in on your opposite notes page. And then turn the pages and label the next 2 pages with this title, please. All right. So, looking at the number talk. So it's asking you, which number is closer to 0? So for 9/10ths or 15/11ths, stand up if you think 9/11ths, sorry. 9/11ths or 15/11ths. Stand up if you think 9/11ths is closer to 0. Okay, everybody? Why? Somebody tell me why. What was your reason? Addie?
The whole, so it'd be like 1, 4, 11, so that's farther away than the fraction would be, and 9/11 is smaller.
Alright, sounds good to me. Alright, 1/5 or 1/9. Stand up if you think 1/5 is closer to 0. Alright, and then stand up if you think 1/9 is closer to 0. Why? Someone tell me why. Gabby?
Because, 1/9 is smaller than 1/5, so
Right.
it's close to 0.
Right, so it's smaller than 1/5. Alright, the next one, 1 in 25/100ths or 5/4. So stand up if you think 1 in 25/100ths is closer to 0. Roman, what is 5/4 if I,
5/4 is equal to 1 and
1/4?
yeah.
Isn't 1 and 1/4 the same as 1 in 25/100ths? So are they equal? So technically, both answers are right? Because they're equal. So why didn't we stand up? Why do you think, Addie? Why didn't you stand up?
Because you said which one's greater. If there's equal, then I should stand up because either one is greater.
Did I say greater or did I say closer?
Thing.
Alright, good enough. I'm not gonna argue with y'all over it too much. Alright, the next one. 100 or 1,000. Which one is closer to 0? So stand up if you say 100. Kira, why'd you change your mind?
I don't know what decimal numbers are called.
Well, which one is closer to 0?
The second one,
Why?
because it's a smaller number.
I mean, honestly, yeah. This one, the 1,000, is a smaller number. Alright, just kind of get our minds thinking about, essentially, when I think about these, I think about a number. Like, here's 0, where are my fractions, where are my whole numbers, where or whatever. Alright, so the jumping fleet. I'm going to project this applet because half the time they work, half the time they do not. So I'm just going to project it up here for you guys when we need it. So it says a fleet is jumping around on a number line. If the fleet starts at 1 and jumps 4 units to the right, where does it end? And how far away from 0 is it? All right, so I want you to essentially do 1A and then stand up when you have that labeled on your number line. So we started on 1, right? And then how many did we go to the right? Alex? 4. See if I can make this work. So how many of you guys ended on 5? Woo, cool little fleet. Awesome. So again, you should have 4 jumps and you should be on 5. So for the first question, it says, where does it end? We're gonna say on 5. Now, how far away is it from 0? How far away is it from 0? If you're not sure, can you just count back from where the flea is to 0? Isabella? So 5 hops, units, jumps, what do you want to write? Hops, 5 hops from 0. Alright, slide over to 1B at the top of the right side. It says if the flea starts at 1 and jumps 4 units to the left, where does it end and how far away is it from 0? So go ahead and start at 1. Stand up when you have your answer. How many of you guys ended on -3? Okay, and then how far away is it from 0? Cam? 3 what? Hops, jumps, units? Huh? No, don't change your answer. What do you want me to write? 3 hops, jumps, units, what? Alright, if the flea starts at 0 and jumps 3 units away, where might it land? So if it starts at 0 and jumps 3 from 0, where could it land? Write it down, say it up. All right, Levy, where would it land? Give me 1.
Negative.
So it could land on -3. Or it could land on what else, Levy?
Positive 3.
What? +3. Why? Why will it either be 3 or -3? Why? Andrew? Because why?
Because the flea starts at 0 and jumps 3 times. It doesn't say which way it's
So 3 and -3 are both what from 0? Right. I think that's what you said. I just wasn't comprehending your language. All right. The next one, D, it says if the flea jumps 7 units and lands on 0, where could it have started? So if it jumps 7 and lands on 0, where could it have started? So go ahead and write that down. State it when you have it. Alright. So where could I have started? Kira.
At either -7 or +7.
Because
It moved 7 units and it landed on 0 and it was 7 point.
right? So let's just use 7 for an example. Jump 7 times, all the way to 0. Alright, next one. The absolute value of a number is the distance it is from 0. The flea is currently to the left of 0 and the absolute value of its location is 4. Where on the number line is it? So again, the absolute value of a number is the distance it is from 0. The flea is currently to the left of 0 and the absolute value of its location is 4. Where on the number line is it? Alright, Isabel, where's it at? How do you know? Because it says it's to the left of 0, or what? And it's 4 what? Alright, F, if the flea is on the left of 0 and the absolute value of its location is 5, where on the number line is it? Stand up when you have your answer. Alright, Juan, where is it located?
At -5.
How do you know?
Because it said to the left of 0.
Right, so the left of 0 and the absolute value is 5. Alright, if the flea is to the right of 0 and the absolute value of its location is 2.5, where on the number line is it? Write it down. Armani, where is he located at? 2.5, yep. And we know that because, what? Because it's on the right of 0. Alright, number 2 says, it's a little bit different now. It says we use the notation with the bars, the absolute value of -2 to say the absolute value of -2, which means the distance of -2 from 0 on the number line. So what does the absolute value of -7 mean, and what is its value? So go ahead and write that down. Stand up when you have your answer. I'll give you a hint. It's legit in number 2. It tells you exactly what's right. Alright, so what does the absolute value of -7 mean? Does that mean Bryson?
That means 7 away from 0.
Well, that's the value, so it's 7, but what does the absolute value of negative 7 mean? Like, what do you think I want you to write there? Kira?
The distance of negative 7 from 0 is 7.
Right, so essentially you wanna write the distance from negative 7 to 0 is 7. Kira, where did you get that information from?
Oh, I said it.
Oh, you mean to set it right there?
You sure you think I thought of that? I that's my favorite.
I don't know. We like to do rocket science and that, so. Alright, again, what does the absolute value of 1 8/10 mean, and what is its value? So again, stand up when you have this written down. Alright, Sophia, what does that mean?
The distance from 1 to 0 on the
And then what is the value? Alright, flip it over. Alright, so now we're talking about elevation and temperature. So remember, elevation is how high something is or how low something is. It says part of the city of New Orleans is 6 feet below sea level. We can use negative 6 feet to describe its elevation and the absolute value of negative 6 feet to describe its vertical distance from sea level. In the context of elevation, what would each of the following numbers describe? So as a group, you are going to essentially tell me what A, B, C, and D could all describe. Okay? Got like a little confused. Are we confused? Why? Do you have this thing right here where we legit did exactly what it's asking you to do? I mean, we have it right here, ladies and gentlemen. Don't lose your minds because we put the word in there, elevation. 25 feet could be what? What could 25 feet be? Joe?
25 feet in the air, underground, or
Above what?
above water.
Above sea level. So then the absolute value of 25 feet could be what? Because it's a positive, so it could be what?
25 feet. Like the absolute value of 25.
So if the first one was 25 feet above sea level, the absolute value of 25, like this is a positive 25, correct? So what could the absolute value of 25 feet be representing? Lily,
represents 25 feet above sea level.
so why am I still getting looks like I'm speaking a foreign language right now? Write it down, work together. I got like 3 minutes. It is not hard, guys. Don't make it hard just because we put it in context or something. It's not hard. So that means you're talking. I should hear conversation right now. Not looking at me. Talk to each other.
I know.
You'll have to remember, because I'm a forget.
Why?
Is your name Addie?
No.
Or why are you worried?
When I'm 18, I can legally change daddy. Be kind of weird.
Do I look entertained or amused right now? All right, about 30 more seconds. If you are done, you can stand up and that lets me know that you don't have to use the entire time.
I like your new backpack.
It's new. I mean, I never saw it.
All right, let's go ahead and do C and D. So what does negative 8 feet? What could it mean? Lily,
18 feet below.
not 18, it's negative 8, baby.
8 feet below sea level.
Okay, and then what could the absolute value of negative 8 feet mean? Why are we going down? Here's Addie.
The distance that negative 8 feet is from
So negative 8 feet is from 0? From sea level? All right, rocket science. Woo, that was tough. Number 2, it says the elevation of a city is different from sea level by 10 feet. Name the 2 elevations the city could have. So again, elevation, is it up or down or both? Elevation. It's both. So what are 2 options? If it's 10 feet, you have 2 elevations. What's 1 elevation? Andrew?
10 feet above sea level.
Alright, so 10 feet. We're just gonna leave it like that. Why do I not have to put above sea level? Why do I not have to put above sea level here? Alex?
Because since it doesn't have a negative, you already know that it's sea level.
Right, so since it doesn't have a negative, we don't have to put it. You can write 10 feet above sea level. I'm not going to. Alright, what's the other option? What's the other option? Abby? So negative 10 feet, which tells us it's below sea level. Alright, number 3 says rewrite negative 5 degrees Celsius to describe a temperature that is 5 degrees Celsius below freezing, and 5 degrees Celsius for a temperature that is 5 degrees above freezing. In this context, what do each of the following numbers describe? So again, as a group, you're writing what each one of these numbers describes, just like we did in the top part, except for we're not talking about sea level now, we're talking about the freezing. All right, go, children, go. You guys should be working together. I should hear you talking to each other about this.
Imagine 5 and 0. And 1 is, no, I think it's negative 5. So it'd be above. Yeah, negative 5 is center. So 1 is above. So negative 4 is below. Oh wait, guess what's the value? So how much 5 feet? 4 is negative 4 Celsius.
So it's still Celsius. So C lucky is like the for this one it's Celsius.
Again, number receiving. Okay,
So yeah.
now.
Now we're just writing above below. Oh wait, we have more? No.
So we're gonna write the
Strong, are you working together, baby, or are you just sitting?
put the distance. Between 12 degrees Celsius and freezing. And then we can write the same thing, just put
Leave
negative.
them alone, Soraya. Leave them alone, baby. All right. So what does 1 degree Celsius, what could that mean? Andrew?
1 degree Celsius above freezing.
Okay. What about negative 4 degrees Celsius? Sophia?
4 degrees below freezing.
All right. What about the absolute value of 12 degrees Celsius? Soraya?
The amount of degree bugs away from freezing.
The what?
The amount of Celsius degree bugs away from freezing.
The amount of Celsius degrees.
12 is away.
The amount of Celsius degrees 12 is, I'm just not understanding what you're saying.
That
Just read what you said, but say it to me.
the amount of degree 12 Celsius is away from freezing.
So what you're trying to say is the distance of 12 degrees Celsius from freezing? Do y'all understand that? That's all that matters. As long as y'all understand it, that's all that matters. Not saying you're wrong, I'm just trying, it just sounds weird to me. Alright, the absolute value of negative 7 degrees Celsius. Lily,
Put the distance between 12 Celsius from freezing.
say it again.
The distance between the distance between negative 7 Celsius from freezing.
The distance between negative 7 degrees Celsius and freezing?
Yes.
Okay. Alright. Are we somewhat understanding it in context now, rather than just, here's a number, here's the number, here's the values? Okay, slide over to number 4, this is the last part. Which temperature is colder, negative 6 degrees or 3 degrees Celsius? Which one's colder? Sophia,
Negative 6 degrees.
why?
Because it's below 0 degrees.
Alright, which temperature is closer to freezing temperature? -6 degrees or 3 degrees? -6 degrees or 3 degrees? Which one is closer to freezing? Alex? Why? Baby, you're right here and I can't hear you. I need you to speak up some. So it's closer to 0. Alright, and then the last one, which temperature has a smaller absolute value and why? Or explain how you know. So which one has a smaller absolute value? Sophia? And how do you know? So you said you use a number line and the hops were less than -6? Okay, number 3, because on a number line, the hops are less than -6 to what? Alright, so hopefully today helps you, again, using absolute value in context. Opposite numbers, again, that's one of those things where we teach you to get connected. I have no idea if you will ever use it in real life, but absolute value you kind of use a little bit more, not thinking about it as absolute value. Please go ahead, glue this into your notebook. You have your pull down, which is the blue sheet on your page, or on your table that I just passed out, and turn it in when you are done, and then if you are finished with your Imagine Math, which I think there's like 3 or 4 of y'all that are, please continue working on those practice problems. If you are not done with Imagine Math, please work on Imagine Math.